Yeah, real voices, real talk. Yeah. This is the Just Talk Black Show with DJ Purpose. Every Thursday, 7 p.m. sharp. Every story, every struggle, every win we claim. We speak it loud, but respect on our name. Yeah. Let's talk black, we shine, we grow. Building up the people every Thursday on the Just Talk Black Show. From pain into pride, let the whole world know we're unfiltered, united. Just Talk Black Show. We speak on the struggles, we celebrate with voices from the block to the boardroom within. Our stories connect us, it's deeper than chat. It's love, it's respect.
Hello guys and welcome back to the Just Talk Black Show. I'm your host DJ Purpose, and I'm telling you, really grateful to be back with you guys on for another Just Talk Black, and for those guys, if you're new to this as well, let me just get my camera sorted. And if you guys are new and you've never ever, it's your first time, should I say, watching the Just Talk Black Show, please like and subscribe. We need you guys to like and subscribe. It's so important that you do that and help this channel to grow. We're on a campaign of trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're halfway through. And for those guys who has been supporting and being there, I just want to say a big thank you to you guys who are supporting the Just Talk Black channel. The regular people that listen to, and a big shout out to Paul out there. Paul, I know he's working. Maybe he's working, maybe he's finished, but you know who you are. So a big shout out to Paul, always on every week, always tuning in as well. Big up to Michelle out there. Big up to loads of you. Big up to Hillary. Big up to Derek, big up to a lot of people who are always tuning in, and there's so much people I can name, but it's, so much. But big up to you as well for definitely tuning in and watching the Just Talk Black Show. If you missed last week's show, I'm telling you, you need to go and check that out. Definitely need to go check that out, guys. That is a show that you need to watch. We're talking about spirituality last week Thursday. So if you missed that show, please guys, go and check that show out. So important that you go and check that show out. So much that you can learn from that show. Such a powerful show. It's a conversation that was a very deep conversation. Had many different angles to it as well. So please go and watch that. Definitely spirituality that we need to go and watch. Such a deep topic within the black community. But before I go any further, anyway, I'm going to put disclaimer fee out there that we always have to put this statement out for each and every show.
Just Talk Black Show. Disclosure Statement. Disclaimer. The views and opinions shared on the Just Talk Black Show are those of the hosts and guests, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the show, its sponsors, or affiliates. This show is a space for open, honest, and respectful dialogue within the Black community. Some conversations may include sensitive topics, strong language, or personal opinions that are intended to spark thought and encourage positive change. Listener discretion is advised. All guests are responsible for the accuracy of their statements and agree to participate voluntarily. By appearing on the show, guests give permission for their audio, video, and likeness to be recorded and distributed across Just Talk Black's platforms. Let's talk real. Let's talk truth. Let's just talk black.
And that's it. Each and every show, we must put that out there to you guys. And it's such an important thing that we do that. But today's topic, I'm telling you, it's a solo one by myself. Absolutely solo one by myself. But I'm not going to be by myself because you guys are going to be helping me along this show today. So the topic for today is what is holding the black community back? Wow. I mean, we can go deep into this one, and we could go to many different angles on this way, on this topic. But tonight's conversation is not an easy conversation, but it is needed. Definitely needed to be in the black community. We need to be talking about this. And this is what we do on the Just Talk Black Show. It's an opportunity for you to call in as well. But we are asking a real question. What's holding the black community back? Not what, they did to us, not about history, but also, guys, what are we doing to ourselves? This is an honest conversation, no filters and no pretending. This is for you guys to be calling in. Give your opinion, give your say. The phone number for tonight's show is 07471 539 533. That is the phone line number for you guys to call in. And I want to hear your truth. I want to hear what you've got to say about this topic tonight. And if you are in the chat as well, let me know where you are from in the chat. Let me know where you are from. Definitely want to know where you guys are listening in from. And as I said, always, guys, get the thumbs up. I can see there's a lot of people watching now. If you can just take 1 minute, not even 1 minute, come on, 60 seconds or 30 seconds just to put a thumbs like in YouTube. If you are watching from YouTube, some of you might not be watching from YouTube, but it's so important that you do get the likes up, because what it does, it pushes the channel further out there to many audience. And that's what we want to do. As I said, we are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. I'm not putting really a time on it, but I know definitely, I'm going to put a time on it by the end of the year. And I know we can do that within a couple of months. We can hit 1,000 subscribers. We are halfway through that target, and I need you guys to really help me along the way and push the Just Talk Black show out. It's so important that this channel is pushed. And the reason why I give anybody an opportunity within the black community to come on, talk about your black owned businesses, or even, as I say, your testimony. Such important things. I always say testimonies are very, very powerful, and you may help somebody, or it may even save a life by giving your testimony of what you've been through your life and how you came through that. So let's start off. Are we being honest about our situation as a community? Are we being honest about our situation as a black community? This is a question to you guys out there. If you do want to call in, start calling in. The phone line is open. And just to say where the phone line is, it's in the bottom right hand screen, which is on your side, or should be on your right, which is 07471 539 533. First question for you guys out there. Are we being honest about our situation as a black community? Are we being honest? Truth is, many of us are not. We talk about success, but avoid talking about struggles. Do we avoid talking about struggles, or are we always complaining about struggles? Do we celebrate our wins, but we hide the pain? If we can't be honest, can we fix anything? That's a question for you guys. Can we fix anything if we can't be honest? If we can't be honest, can we fix anything? And I know some of you guys have been sending me messages during the week as well about the situation, of the black community and why we are struggling. So I want to get some of those callers in as well, and to get on the line and just give your opinion, because I know some of you was giving your opinion, and some of you was even telling me about things that you went through and what you wasn't happy about in the black community. So good big shout out to the listeners and the callers out there again. So if you've got any messages, if you've got any texts or anything you want to put out on the screen, I could bring that up on the screen. Any questions that you've got that you may want to even ask people out there, or your feelings of how you feel, why we are struggling as a black community, so important, guys. So let's say, are we blaming the system? And that's another question for you guys. Are we blaming the system for everything? Are we blaming the system? Are we saying, yes, the system has issues, but if we're blaming everything on the system, we're giving away our powers? Are we giving away our powers, guys? That's another question to you guys. Are we giving away our power? Two things can be true. The system can be unfair, and we can still take responsibility. So the system can be unfair. Yep, definitely can be unfair, but we can still take responsibility. So that's looking at the system and saying, well, we're getting treated unfair. Let's go and have a call. Hello, welcome to the Just Talk Black show. How you doing today?
Hi, good evening.
Good
I'm
evening.
all right.
Good
How
evening.
are you?
I'm doing good, How you doing?
Yeah, it's been a positive day.
Positive day. That's what I love to hear. Thank you for calling in on the Just Talk Black show. Today's topic is a very wide open topic. So we're talking about what is holding the black community back. So that's my question to you today. What is holding the black community back?
Okay, there's no simple answer to that question.
Definitely.
There are levels to that question.
Yep.
So we're holding ourselves back. I know there's many people that would disagree, but we are. We are equally allowing society to hold us back.
True.
And we are allowing history to hold us back.
Okay. And when you say history, when you mean history, what sort of history are we letting hold us back?
How far do you want to go?
Let's take it a little bit back. Give me 1 point. Give me 1 or 2 points.
So we can look at things like this, people still go on about the slavery trade and there's obviously effects. There's effects that have affected us as a community, us as people, us as our cultures. So there's, the whole slave trade and everything that encompassed for those few hundred years.
Yeah.
But we can bring it back to the 20s, to the 70s, 20s to the 80s. There was a lot of racism still when the Windrush generation came over. And our parents, my generation of parents were Windrush generation parents, and they faced those adversities head on. And they actually succeeded way more than our kind of 40-ish, 50-ish generation are.
Yeah.
They didn't let those things hold them back. But we are sitting here saying, well, in the workplace this and in the workplace that.
Yeah. So have you ever got treated unfairly in the system? Let me ask you that. Have you ever got treated unfairly in the system, would you say?
Yeah, I believe so.
You believe so? Okay. And do you think, do we give our power to the system?
We've had to so far, because that's the way the system has created the system that we live and work within. We are learning to take our power back, and we are learning to invest in ourselves and in our community.
Yeah.
But we're so far behind.
So far behind.
And equally...
Yeah, go on. No, go on.
Many of us are very indoctrinated into the system. And there are levels to our understanding.
Yeah.
And some people are further along that journey than others. Some people are being more forceful with that message and with that journey than others. And some of us just feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, definitely hear what you're saying. Do you think we're truly united as a community? And let's be real. Do you think, are we divided by culture, by ego?
Divide and conquer was what ruled us, and it's still in our mindsets. So we have colorism, we have classism within the black communities. I grew up in the 80s.
Yeah.
Sadly, I remember the days when it was the Jamaicans against the Africans.
Okay.
Like our children,
let's be real.
That's what it was. Our children have corrected that. We're all just black now. We come and a lot of our generation now see ourselves as coming from Africa and the motherland. But we were raised as a Jamaican. I can't remember my parents saying it, but I was raised within that thing that Africans and Jamaicans were against each other. Why?
Yeah.
The system was against us. So there's still a lot within the West Indian, within the black community. There's a lot of colorism and there's a lot of classism.
Yeah.
And that's where we're holding ourselves back at the moment. And that happens within other communities. I'm not ignorant to that. But they have united enough that they are succeeding where we are not. And I believe that it's the fear of our power, if we were truly standing together that is allowing or has allowed the colorism, the racism, the whatever to continue through us and through later generations.
Okay. So what about do we support each other? We say we support black businesses, like black owned businesses, but do we actually do it? Or do we question them more or criticize them more and trust outside more? And, you know, what do you think with that one? Do we support each other when we say we support black owned businesses?
Traditionally, no.
Come on.
Listen, I'm going to be real.
Be real. This is what it's about. You're on the Just Talk Black show.
Traditionally, no, we don't. I think we're starting to, and that awareness and that understanding is starting to flow throughout the community more so. But equally, we are definitely more self-critical of anyone running a business who is black and we are black. We expect the kind of brother-sister treatment. Yeah. We're not actually standing there and realizing that this is their livelihood, this is their dream, this is their future. So sometimes I think that can be a hindrance.
Yeah.
We expect certain treatment that really we shouldn't be expecting. You wouldn't walk into, you know, let's call an old shop Woolworths and expect different treatment.
Yeah.
So why should you walk into your local black-owned store and expect different treatment?
But as well, you know, one of the things that I did see, and you know, where I think we are struggling as well as a community as well, is that I'm not going to put it out there to say everybody's doing it, but one thing I have seen lately is that when we do start company as black people, we're quick to sell them as well. And I'm not just saying it's everybody, but what I've seen where I live in my area, there's been, for example, I'm going to say like a black-owned barbers. And that been in since I was young, and all of a sudden now that black barbers has been sold to a different sort of race, you know. So we've lost that within our community where it was black owned. So,
and I can hear and understand the frustration of that, but who was the highest bidder? Sorry, if I'm selling my business, I'm selling it to the highest bidder.
Yeah, and I get that. We can sell it to the highest bidder, but what do we have to pass down to our kids? The generation of seeing our own barbers and kids having something to look up to say, you know what, I could be a barber, I can own a barber shop. But if they're not seeing these people who own the barber shop and they're seeing it totally different now, where the barber shops are getting mixed, where before as a black man, you go to a black barber shop and, you know, you could have a conversation about your blackness without feeling any way because it's all the black man in one place. But now you got to be very careful of what you're saying in that barber shop because it's mixed now and you don't want to offend nobody.
And I think that's valid, but I also think that's down to areas. So I think about areas that I frequent, so Tooting, Brixton, Battersea. There's lots of black-owned barbers and hairdressers.
Yeah.
Places like Peckham. I think, sorry, I'm a South London if you couldn't tell.
Southwest, South London, eh?
Yeah, nothing wrong with us, yeah?
Come on.
But I think it's very much about areas as well. So representation is higher in certain areas. So therefore, the younger generation will see that more in some areas. Like if I went to Wimbledon, even though that's South, I wouldn't necessarily expect to see as many black barbers as I would in Tooting or Brixton.
Yeah.
So it's about the areas. It's about building that strength of community, maybe starting in those areas where the community is strong, and then we branch out into the other areas where it's not. But that has to be a community conversation and a community drive and a community clear vision. And that's where we fall apart. We don't communicate as a community. We don't support through communication, through teaching, through learning as a community.
Definitely. I think you've got
it's
some valid points.
But it's not. We're not where we need to be.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think you've definitely got some good points there. You know, on what you're saying, and we are starting. But I just feel like as a community, we need to do so much more. You know, and it starts with as well praising each other when we're winning, because you know another question is
can't be red eye.
Well, that's the thing. You know, another question: are we afraid to see each other's win? Sometimes, yes, jealousy is real. Instead of collaboration, you know, all these things. You know, jealousy. you know, we're afraid to collaborate with one another because, you know, jealousy again seeps in, you know. So that's a big problem within the black community as well. We're afraid to see each other's
But
wins.
you see, this goes deep. This is where it goes deep now, because we have to unlearn behaviours that started being indoctrinated from the days of slavery and continued through various. I mean, we're not in America, but I was reading about Tulsa again today, and that whole situation and that whole community that had built itself strong and was destroyed. We've done it over pockets of time in different areas, different communities, but we've not been combined and strengthened because that indoctrination is in us, genetically imprinted.
Yeah.
Other communities have managed to shake that off or overcome it, or maybe they weren't as indoctrinated as we were because they didn't suffer that, you know, some of the atrocities that we did as well. But until we can really shake off the indoctrination, we will never be truly unified.
Yeah.
And actually, sorry, this is a bit controversial, but part of me wants to shake off the indoctrination because I'm a black woman who wants to thrive and grow.
Yeah.
But part of me doesn't, because I have a blended family and I don't want my children to be pitted against each other. Because as I've raised them to know, it doesn't matter how light-skinned you may be, put you in front of a racist, you're black.
Yeah, well, there you go. Come on.
But at the same time, they have to live within the mixed world. So they need to be able to understand some of that as well.
Yeah.
But I do believe as a community, as you know, I'm an educator, I'm a qualified black woman, I run my own business, blah, blah, blah. There are many things as a black community we need to work on before we can be truly unified and truly support each other and therefore truly grow.
Yeah.
There will be pockets of growth, but not true growth.
And you said you're a business owner and you got your own business and stuff. Do you feel like the black community is supporting you enough? And is it easy enough to get your company out there as, say, a black owned business? You know, just for example, the Just Talk Black show, you know, social media, the algorithm can let people know of my show and they cannot let people know of my show. You know, so how hard is it for us to unite and come together on the digital world, in the web and all that, you know? How do you find that as getting out there, especially on social media, pushing your company out there?
To be honest, I'm probably not personally pushing it on certain platforms as much as I should.
Yeah.
But through finding my own tribe, I have been able to grow my tribe on platforms like LinkedIn. So yes, there is growth and there is, you know, we click a button and we support that, or we click a button and we this. But in terms of actual physical supporting, promoting, pushing, bringing customers to me, no, not really.
No. Okay. That's interesting. Well, I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to give anybody an opportunity to call in, and really do appreciate your call in. You know, you've said some really fantastic points that, you know, hit home, and, you know, hopefully we can move forward. But just before you go, let me ask you, what do you think the solution is? I know we've just been speaking about a lot of different things, but what would you say one of the solution could be to better ourselves as a black community and come out that struggle?
I think education's key. I think educating ourselves on bits of our history, not to anger and upset people, but to know where we're coming from, to remember that we were kings and queens, to remember that we had our businesses, to remember that we have strength and knowledge, to remember that we have power. We just need to reclaim it.
Love that. You know, all right. Thank you for calling in the Just Talk Black show. Really do appreciate your call and all the points that you have put out there. Really do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Take care. Thank you.
Great
Bye-bye.
show. Bye-bye.
Bye. That's it. Come on, guys. If you are watching as well, you know, if it's your first time, please subscribe to the channel. Very important that you do subscribe. It helps grow the channel. You know, these are the conversations that we have each and every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. We have many different guests as well on the show. We've had black-owned teachers. We've had people in the healthcare. We've had people who specialize in relationships, coach relationships, and helping people to find love. We've interviewed people from Ghana. We've interviewed people from the USA. So we open this topic on this show. We have many different topics along this show. So, very important that you do help subscribe. And if you are going to be watching this after this finish as well, because it will definitely go straight onto YouTube as well once it is finished. And I'm going to ask you, if you are watching, please subscribe and share it. We are trying to get to 1,000. I'm not even going to say try, because I've been told off recently for saying try. No, we are going to do. Definitely we are going to get to this point of 1,000 subscribers, because I'm not going to say we're going to try, because words are powerful, and definitely been talking about that this week, and how we use our word, very powerful. So I've been reminded to be careful of the words that I say, because we have that authorization of what we say and how powerful our words are as well. So, as we're definitely moving on, for the people who are watching live, the phone number is 07471 539 533. And if you just come in the room, we are talking about, why do we struggle as a Black community? Why are we struggling as a Black community? And have we normalized struggle? Being broken, being stressed, being tired. Has it become our norm? Have these things become our norm? So where we're being broken, where we're stressed, where we're tired. But this is not normal. This is conditioning. Sometimes these things are conditioning. What we've got to look at, are we being conditioned to feel broken, to feel stressed, to feel tired? Is there a system in place that puts this out there? And are we living in survival mode? Another thing, are we living in survival mode? Many of us are not living. We're living in this survival mode. So what we're doing, we are living in survival mode. We are trying to get out there in the world and be strong but some of us are just living in that survival mode. The question is, where are you? Where are you? Let's get a call in. Hello, welcome to the Just Talk Black show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Good evening.
Good evening. Quick question to you. How are we, why are we struggling as a Black community? That's my question to you today.
I believe we are struggling because of the lack of communication, and in the youth terms, on seriousness. Just because when people book appointments or have this feeling that they want to do something, but no, they don't have the money to do it, or they're just not ready to do it, but they will still call people, book appointments, talk to them about certain things, and they're just not ready to do it. And that also wastes people's time that they could be doing other things. But as Black people, we wouldn't just call and say, oh, you know what, let me cancel, or oh, you know what, this has come up, or they'll just, oh, let's forget about it, oh, this person will understand, or oh, we're just not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And the time wasting, I think, is a big thing in the Black community,
So you're saying the time wasting, so
Yeah.
of the wasting time, and that's true. Time wasting is a thing where people are going to say, you know what, I'm going to come and do a job for you, and then they don't turn up and you're waiting. How much of us have had and tried to give maybe somebody out there a job, or basically been giving them a job and they don't phone you to say, you know what, it's cancelled, or they don't turn up for the job. You've given them a job, and a friend of a friend recommend, and they don't turn up for the job. So that's true what you're saying. Do you think there's anything else that you say that why we are struggling as a Black community?
I just think also sometimes they have big ideas, but they haven't really got down the whole professionalism of actually trying to fulfill whatever the thing that they want to do is. So it kind of ties in with the being unserious type thing, but just they want to have an idea and they're trying to do it, but they're not fully ready. And it's okay to say they're not, but as Black people, we're quite proud of what we do, and yes, we can do everything, which is amazing, but sometimes not everybody is ready to do everything.
do you think is that they're not ready, or and yeah, it could be a part that they're not ready, but as well, how important is education, and how important is it to for us to say, as you said, that to say that we're not ready or we need a bit of help, because sometime in the black owned business in the black world, how much of us really can put our hands up and say, you know what, I need a bit of help. How much, as you said, there's that prideness of not being able to ask for help sometime when you do need that help.
Exactly. It's the pride, even down to the unseriousness, down to the asking for help, down to everything. It's literally down to the pride, like, oh, I can't make it, but oh, if I don't want to call because any reason to do with pride, or they feel like, oh, I don't really want to let this person down, but let me not just call, not knowing that that person could be really understanding. But because they feel like they probably know how people are and know their pride is too high to even give a phone call to let someone down nicely or to even reschedule, or their pride is too high to say, you know what, I need the help, do you know somebody that can help me with this or help me with that, or I'm struggling, let's have a meeting and I can kind of talk to you about what I am able to do. And sometimes people just don't have the encouragement to say, you know what, I'm not good at everything, and it's okay.
Love that. Absolutely love what you're definitely hitting on some points there. What else do you think there is that is holding us back as a black community?
To be honest with you, I think sometimes it's our own self as can be our downfall. Because sometimes we do say, we look at black communities and we say like, oh, why is this not working for us? But it's not about why is this not working for us, because there's people that are same skin color that's doing amazing, that know that what they should do, that are not self-indulged and not prideful, and when to ask for help, and they're doing amazing. So it's not really also down to us, it's down to individuals that really do let us down as a black community, that are not fully ready for putting themselves out there to generally help people, but they still try to, which in all fairness, that's amazing. But you don't know when that's somebody else's downfall or someone else's last straw, and they're really trying and they just let them down. Not people forget everyone's human. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah. Okay. Got some very, very valid point there, what you're saying. I get it. Definitely get what you're saying. What do you think about when people talk about our past traumas of history, when a lot of people say that is from slavery days? What's your views on that?
Oh, well, I think the past history does form and shape us as an individual and as a whole. I think especially things like slavery mentality and their mindset carries on till now, I think, and people don't even realize, down to people feeling bad to sing in public, down to people maybe humming while they're hoovering and doing certain things. They don't realize that we didn't just start doing those things. Those things have been our little things that we had as backing slavery, little things that we used to cherish or used to get chastised for doing, and now we're slowly openly doing it. And so when someone hears you sing, you're like, oh, sorry about that. Why are you apologizing for singing while you're hoovering or singing in public? Like, there's normal things to do, but because of things that have impacted us so much during slavery, that down to generation, it's just stuck to us, that even now we're struggling to be our own individual self, because things have been engraved so deeply that it just sticks, I think.
So what would you say the solution to what you just said? What's the solution?
I think awareness is a big solution. Being aware of yourself, being aware of your self-love, being aware of how yourself can affect other people. And if you're not self-aware, you won't even realize, like, we're not even self-aware that things are engraved in us from slavery, because sometimes most of us don't have our own individuality when it comes to it. Like, we know we're black, we know we're beautiful, we know we're proudful, but what is your purpose? What is your self-worth? What is yourself? And once you know that, I think things that were from slavery and things that were really engraved in us can somehow be watered out, because now we're doing things for our own. We're singing when we want to sing. We're obviously not being too out there, but we're doing what we want to do. That is And some things like that is amazing. So if we continue to be our own individual self and able to do things to help ourselves grow, we'll be able to be more in tight as a community, if that makes sense, and not worry about what other people are thinking all the time and do for us, you know.
No, true what you're saying. Okay. So how do we build? How can we build wealth? Because wealth is important in the Black community. And are we building wealth, or are we tearing each other down? You know.
Oh, tearing each other down 100%. Tearing each other down, because you hear the people go, oh, I went to that Jamaican shop, it wasn't nice, or oh, I went to that Congolese restaurant, no, the other one I went to was much better. And you're just like, but why don't you give the owner tips, like, oh, the oxtail was a bit watery, maybe you should try, instead of just bashing them? Why don't you help uplift people, give them constructive some people can't take it. I know business owners that really can't take constructive criticism and will just say, oh no, my food is good. And those are the ones that do bring us down in society. But there is ones that would love to be like, oh, you know what, okay, cool, and we'll try and tweak stuff, we'll try and change stuff. And then you can say, you know what, I know a guy down the road who sells this and he's amazing. Like, yeah, it was one-off, but like, he's got a new recipe and now it's amazing. And people start talking about it, and people will love to share when they get that, you know, that positive vibe from business owners that generally do want to grow and want to do better in society. And I think just us actually helping each other out instead of bringing each other down. If you order something, it took too long, ask them why. If you get bad customer service, then you know why. But if they have good customer service and they're honest business, don't drag them down, help uplift them. Write a good review. Yes, it took too long, but amazing customer service, very understanding, very this, very that, and just keep pushing each other, keep pushing the businesses. Anywhere you can help, just help.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't cost a thing to leave a good review or just to help, you know?
Definitely love what you're saying. I'm going to ask you one quick question as well for the last one. So how do we heal as a community? What do you think? And how do we heal as a community?
Well, you first have to heal within yourself, because most of the time the hate from the community comes within one experience you had with a bad business or food or something, and that's where it stems from. And then you have this self-thing that, oh, all Black-owned businesses are like this, or oh, they're always running late, or oh, they're always, yeah, but not everybody's like that. There's billions of people on this planet, and there's lots of thousands of companies, and they don't all run like the odd 10 companies that you locally went to that hasn't been good. So always keep an open mind as well. The way to grow and heal, keep an open mind, and remember, we're all human. Like, just because we're all made of bones and blood and water, we're all made of the same thing. So not everybody is going to have a good day. Someone might have a really crap day and something happened, or a relative has died, and then you've seen them on their bad day. So sometimes you've got to give people a chance, grow, let things happen, give them, you know what, you might have a bad day, but you know what, I'll come back, you know, because you were very lovely, and I apologize if I was rude. People don't even like to apologize when they're out of pocket as well. So generally, to grow is to take accountability and to know that we're all human.
Yeah.
We all woke up one day and was on this earth, and we're all trying to find our purpose, live our life, make money, and trying to all be successful and get somewhere. We're all on the same train, trying to get to different destinations, but with the same ending, you know?
Yeah. But
So
are
mindset.
we all on the same train though? Because some of us are, to me, some of us are not on the same train. I mean, I had an incident that I had to tell one guy, and I had to tell him honestly, I had to tell him, like, you're not on the same boat. You're really not on the same boat when it comes to supporting ourselves as Black-owned people, and especially as a Black man to another Black man. We hate on each other sometimes, you know, for no apparent reason. Well, it's been a doctrine and some things as a system being put into a Black man. I can walk into a place and I can say hello to another Black man, and he doesn't even acknowledge me, doesn't even say hello. I could say good morning to him and he can just be very rude. You know, in the job that I do, when I'm out there, sometime I find a Black man, it could be the most rudest person, and I'm just thinking, why? You know, and I've had to pull a couple of Black men up and just say, look, we're brothers, we're one. You know, when you look at me, you should see yourself. And when I look at you, I should see myself. We're one. And sometimes I have to pull up some black guys and just tell them, look, this behavior, you know what I mean? It's not right, man. We should be loving on one another. We're both kings and we should have that respect, you know? So
No, exactly.
it's hard to say that everybody's on the boat, and I don't think everybody's on the boat in this black owned world. And we're all trying to, well, not all, as I said, some of us are trying to push this black stuff and promote ourselves and get us back to where we should be as kings and queens and have these businesses. But one thing I've realized in doing, especially with doing a Just Talk Black show, not everybody's on the boat.
To be honest, not everyone's on your boat or the same boat, or I think everyone's on their own personal journey, and people just don't know how to be kind to each other. Like that is my biggest thing. I was even telling a lady the other day, it doesn't cost anything to be kind. To generally be kind, say kind words and do kind things. It doesn't cost a thing. And to support somebody, even if it's just a follow, even just a review, it doesn't cost a thing. And I feel like especially some black people that can be even labeled aggressive or whatever, they don't even realize just their kind words can generally uplift somebody else. And he might not be on your journey of kindness, supporting people, letting people know what the good and the bad is, and being on that journey to generally helping the black community. But he is on his own journey. It might be going south, somewhere bad, but he's on his own journey, and only he can put his cart back on the right track. So then I'm not saying not to help him, but sometimes, especially when your train is going faster than him, you do kind of have to look forward and go to where you're going, because sometimes only he can help himself.
Yeah.
And maybe there might be someone that he meets that generally is for him to help him on that journey as well.
Definitely. No, I definitely love your calling today. You know, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to give other people an opportunity definitely to call in. But no, I really do appreciate your call. And yeah, thank you today for calling the Just Talk Black Show. I really do appreciate your call today.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right, bye. And that's it, guys. Just to remind you guys out there, the phone number is for you to call in is 07471539533 if you have something to say on this topic that we are talking today about. And the topic is for people who are just coming in, you know, why are we struggling as a black community, and what's holding us back? What's holding the black community back? What is holding the black community back out? So as I said, that phone number is 07471539533. Definitely. This topic is a very open topic. There's many different things that we can look at and say, well, this is one reason and this is the next reason. My definitely thing is that sometimes we talk about slavery a bit too much for my liking, for me personally anyway. You know, I know slavery did happen, and I've had many conversations with people on this show about slavery, and we do need to recognize, yes, it did happen. And, you know, what have we learned from that? What can we take from that, and what can we learn from that? But also, let's go past that and go back further than that. We was kings, we was queens, we had land, we had gold, we had many different things. How did we live life before then? We need to go back and look at those sort of times of who we really were, where did we come from, you know, those sort of stuff. Education is definitely important. I think it needs to be pushed out there in the black community in a big scale, you know. Collaboration definitely needs to be more within the black community. Different organizations need to come together and start working together. We need to start pulling together and working together. Unity is power, it's strength. So definitely coming together as a black community and start collaborating. There's so much businesses out there who are doing wonderful things, you know, definitely. So let's take this phone call. Hello, welcome to the Just Talk Black Show. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I am doing very good. How you doing? Good. So quick question to you. Let's ask this question. What's holding the black community back?
I think so. It's a number of things. I think on one level, we are definitely sometimes hyperfixated on the era of slavery in our history. and that can put us in a position of just like reliving the worst part of our past
Come on.
repeat.
Definitely.
But at the same time, I think even outside of slavery, we are attached to our past in the sense of, well, our parents, for example, those of us that are in the UK now, everything we have today as a Black community is because of what our parents and grandparents did for the most part. So a lot of us are like, well, because they came, they did this and they did that. Like, yeah, they did. Yeah, we should celebrate these things. Of course, we should emphasize their trials and tribulations and the strides that they had made.
Yeah.
But what are we as the next generation doing? It's all good and well clapping for those before us, but how are we building up after them? It seems like we're so stuck on what they did, we're not moving forward beyond that point.
That's true. Very true.
You know, so it's not to say we shouldn't celebrate and we shouldn't be happy, because quite literally, if they didn't come here and do and deal with everything they did, we would not even be having this conversation. But we're not putting into perspective to say, okay, this is what they did. What can we learn from them? Where were the flaws in their plan? What were the mistakes that they made? Because we're seeing a lot of the things that they had to deal with. We're still dealing with them. Where we're talking about it, and we'll talk to our parents or our grandparents, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, that's how it's been, and that's why they will be sitting there saying that's why we had to do X, Y, and Z. But now when stuff happens, we're not nearly as feisty as them. Like the example of what happened to the sister in Peckham a couple of years ago in their hair shop.
Yeah.
How many of our community has just gone back to regular scheduled programming and just go and purchase in these shops like nothing happened?
Come on.
We really we should not be going back to those shops, period. Like they should have been put out of business, and not just one of them, but all of them. Because if one of them do it and get away with it, then what's to stop the next one? Even if their chain of shops is not linked to this one guy in Peckham, it's them having the awareness that, well, we can treat these lot anyhow and we're still going to get our daily bread. If it was the generation before us, look at all the things that they did in their time, from the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. They were putting it down, but we're not really building to say, well, they did X, Y, and Z. We need to go 10 times harder to get to the next level. We have a level of complacency, I would say, to a degree, some of us, in that we don't want to lose the comfortability over fighting for freedom.
Come on. Definitely would say with that one, definitely. And it's true what you're saying. So much people kicked up an outroar about what happened in Peckham and said stop supporting them. And I know there's a couple of campaigns that people put stuff out. But I think we need to go further than that. I think we need to start opening up our own shops. How much of us would say, well, we're going to put our money where our mouth is? If we say we're going to support it, can we start opening our own Black hair shops, you know? And with that topic where you're saying with the hair shop, how much of their products in some of these shops are damaging Black hairs as well?
Right.
That's so important. So I think as well, people need to be aware that some of these things that you are buying in some of these shops that are not Black owned, and I'm not saying Black owned people can't do the same thing, but I'm saying is that it's known fact that, especially the one in Peckham, that he was fined. I'm sure, I'm not going to 100% quote it, but I'm sure he was fined for some of the tampering of the products that he was selling in the shop, and Black people going in there.
That's not enough. Man should be in jail for 25 years. That's attempted murder, mate. Like, what are we even talking? A fine? What are we talking about? I'm a Black woman. So you're telling me if someone puts their hands on me, they might get a fine? In what world does that make sense?
No, what I'm saying about is the product that he was selling. Some of the products in the shop. I hear
what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, look at the repercussion for his actions. There basically is none. That fine would have still not cost him nothing. So when we're looking at the Black community and why we are not able to move forward, it's because stuff like that is happening to us every day across the world. And we're not doing that. Man got a fine for attempted murder. Like, I need us to actually like deep that for a second. And he's not the first, and it's not only in his industry. And you make an excellent point that he's out here selling stuff that's not even good for us in any instance. They find him, right, for the damaging products that he's selling, but yet we're still going back to not only his damaging products, but his murderous behavior, his murderous intent. Like, I don't like, and it's not to say, like, you made mention of us opening up black shops. There are some black shops out there.
Yeah.
But the problem is because they're scattered, people don't want to go and take that extra 10 minutes on the bus, or go, okay, if you live in one part of South, I have to now travel half an hour to the other part of South, or whatever it might be. We don't want to put ourselves out of a convenience.
Definitely.
And it's embarrassing. I'll be honest, it's embarrassing.
Of course it is. 100% it's embarrassing, you know. It is. Definitely.
So, like, and even with that, like, I think another point of what's holding us back is our own desire to be saved. Like, not all of us at all, not every single one of us. A lot of us are out there doing what we can, pushing. But a lot of us have this idea of, well, they owe us reparations, which they do. I am in no way saying they shouldn't give us our money, right?
Yeah.
But it's almost like, well, if they don't give us money and if they don't pay us what they're owed and if there is no consequence to them, then we can't do anything. As if to say our evolution is dependent on what they give us. So how can we move forward when we're waiting for the day for these people to come and say, you know what, we're sorry? Why would they even say that? What do they have to gain from saying that? There's no consequence for action. There's no benefit to apologizing. If anything, it's worse off for them, because by them admitting a wrong, it's like they're almost identifying themselves as the problem, and they don't have that level of accountability. So when we're sitting here waiting for the impossible to happen, we're actually holding ourselves back.
Yeah.
And we don't realize it. Of course, if we start reassembling ourselves, reorganizing, restructuring, and moving in smarter ways, then naturally what will be a byproduct of that is we start to assemble ourselves in a way where, okay, we're at a point where we've always wanted our money, but now we've got certain structures. So if we're going to ask them for money, we don't have to worry about them kicking us out of their housing, because we've set up our own thing over here. If we're asking them for money, we don't have to worry about them treating our children weird in school, because we've set up our own schooling system over there. If we're asking them for money, we don't have to worry about the healthcare doing foolishness to our mothers, our babies, and our men when mental health is down, because we've set up our own health institute here. So we would be in a position of power to be making demands. And because we are their biggest consumer, they would have to accept that we're walking away with or without the money.
Love that. Come on.
But we're working harder. We're not even working hard. We're not working harder, and we're not working smarter. At this point, we're just working.
Yeah.
It's like you're digging a hole, but you're digging the hole you're in. You're not creating a new hole. You're not shoveling a tunnel to get out. You're not trying to create a strategic way. We're just digging in the hole that we're already in. So we're not doing anything constructive.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. It's definitely true what you're saying. You know, some of the points that you've hit is so real. You know, but how do we change our mindset then? How do we change our mindset?
I mean, it comes down to us as individuals, because the community is made up of individuals. So the community is a reflection of each individual. If enough of us as individuals make the change independently, individually, then naturally you'll see something different in the community. So if you consider, for example, all of us are expecting a change. Let's say we're like, we haven't got no money, we haven't got no resources. Okay, so at which point do we say, let's start pooling our resources? At which point do we say, okay, we've all got £5, let's invest that £5. Okay, we've got like the accountants and we've got the bankers. Let's lock in with some of them that are conscious and see how can we get our own banking institute. Let's go back home and see how we can invest this money in natural resources, for example. Then that's the individuals that are saying, I want to do this, making those strives to do that. It'll be the same thing when it's like now, for example, if you've got an issue, you don't necessarily trust Western medicine, you have to then say, okay, what are the other options that are there? Now you can say, I'm going to go for like Chinese medicine, I'm going to go for the Indian medicine, or there's going to be like a black person that might be specialized in whatever traditional medicine practice they've decided. That option is only there because those individuals said, I'm going to go get certificates. I'm going to go back home to learn. I'm going to go and do self-employed. I'm going to do private practice. It was the individual that decided that and created a pathway for members of the community to invest in that system. Problem is, none of us want to be the individual.
Individual.
None of us want to be the individual
Yeah.
that will create the path for others to invest in. We want a path to be made, but we're not making it.
So what you're saying is that the work starts with us first, and then when it
Yes.
starts with us first, then we can start pushing it out.
Exactly.
And I get that, but I'm gonna challenge that. I'm gonna challenge that a little bit. And I get what you're saying is individual starting off, and it does start with individual. But even sometimes when we start as an individual, how much of our black people actually support us and want to support us? You know, you can start individually, but then you might be saying that, for example, I got a podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to anybody like to come on or even advertise another podcast. I've got nothing against any other black like podcasts out there. I will support them, I will help them, whatever they need. Advertise their show. Because I'm about the black community. That's what I'm about. But some of them is like, well, I'm not about that. I'm not about, or you have to pay this, or you need to do this, or you need to do that. And I'm thinking, well, I don't mind helping you in any way. I don't mind collaborating, but some people don't want to collaborate. Because the first thing they're saying is, how much followers do you have? How much people watch your show? Then they talk about the money and this and that. And I get it. People, you have to make money, in certain ways. But when did it come to a part of just doing stuff out of just self-love and supporting your community, or even giving back to your community? How much of them will say, you know what, I want to give back to my black-owned community? So I get what you're saying. It does start with that individual self. But I also think it needs that big tribe. And as you said, the individual build that tribe. But you can have the individual, but in that tribe, if everybody's not singing off the same page, that tribe will get dismantled because of confusion.
My question would be, is that then your tribe? Because what we're defining there, like, there's a lot of our people that are just like what you described. We're trying to collaborate. Well, how many followers do you have? It's about popularity and monetization. And like you said, we all do want to make our own piece of the pie, right? And we all do want to know, okay, when I'm doing something, something's going to come from it. So it's not to say we're all sitting here on some just nothing needs to go nowhere, right? But those people that are not looking at the bigger picture of how can I help this brother or sister, or let me use my platform to advance this brother or sister, they're not conscious. Yeah. They're not the people that those of us that truly are coming from a conscious space of, we actually need more than just the money and to have 4.5 million followers so we can just sit there and puff up our own chest. They're not the conscious people that we're looking at. Now, some people, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying all people that are looking from that perspective are not conscious, right? But if your desire to be popular and only align with those that are popular supersedes your desire to just uplift another member of the community, then I'm inclined to have the perspective that you're not conscious. Because the conscious person will be like, let me see what you're doing. Doesn't matter what your numbers are at. Because once upon a time, I only had 3 followers, 5 followers, 500 followers. I didn't just wake up in the morning after opening up my Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever it was, and suddenly had millions of followers. So because I have that awareness of where I was on the journey and what the path looks like, let me see what you're doing. Let me see the work you've done independently. Let me see, do you know what I mean? Let me go and Google you. Let me check you out on LinkedIn. Let me go and watch your YouTube channel. Let me see, what are you doing? Are you actually worthy of me bringing along, or are you just out here trying to just jump on my back? Because there are some people that just want to jump on our backs.
Come on.
They don't actually have any good intentions. Like, oh, you're popular, let me jump on what you're doing. But if you've done your research, you've actually sat down, you've had a conversation with that person, 2 conversations with that person, whatever it is, and you've assessed to say, okay, I'm going to give them an opportunity, give them a chance. What are you losing by doing that? You already have your 4 million followers. You already have the popularity. You've already gone viral 27 times out of a 30-day month. What is it off you? It's just your ego. And if you're so led by your ego, then you're not actually moving really and truly from a conscious space, because your own self will actually sit and reflect on, why do I not want this person to be there? Again, this is not for all people, but a lot of our people are like that. So then we have to ask the question, well, are those the people we want to be aligned with anyway? Why are we even worried about those people? Because we all know the community's got people that not all skin folk are kinfolk.
Come on.
So if you lot aren't really trying to build in truth, you're just trying to build for your own ego, for your own self-interest, for your own validation, that's cool. You can do that. Everyone's entitled to do what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But you lot will sit in your corner. You've got your path, you've got your lane, you're going to do what you're going to do. And I will keep moving, because you have to remember the conscious road is a very narrow road with very few on it.
And that's the thing, and that's the thing I was saying before, that I don't believe everybody is going to be on this road, that we're trying to support one another, we're trying to build a community, we're trying to build a tribe. And what I'm doing, the work I'm doing, and sometimes I don't see that people want to be on that road. They want to be left alone, and they want to be in the system and are happy in the system, you know. Even some people deny that, you know, that might have roots in Africa. Some people say, me, like, no way. Like, they're saying, like,
Don't even get me started on the
like,
British.
some of the things, like, they're saying, nah, I'm British. Like,
Right.
I think when I saw, I think, who was it, the NF or whatever, they was marching, you know, and they wanted the immigration people out.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, because that to me was a bit funny when I saw some black people going up there and say, yeah, I want these immigration people out, and, you know, don't want them in, and we're black and we're British. And I said, okay, when they're ready to switch on you and turn you out and say go back home, be very ready for that, you know, because the same way you're standing with these people and saying you're British, they're looking at you and saying, like, nah, mate, you ain't one of us.
Right.
You ain't one of us. And I'm just putting it out there how it is. You know, people might say, well, you know, you're chatting a lot of rubbish, but the facts are there. Facts are there, you know, for people who want to see it.
This is it. And the thing is, we identify with Britishness to an extent. Like, we were born here, so we're British. When you listen to the way we talk, we're British. Like, you can just hear it in the accent. If I go anywhere in the world, they're looking at me, oh, England girl, or whatever. Right. You go back home, they're like, oh, you're England child, or whatever it is. That's cool. I can accept that, because it's true. I was born here. I was raised here. The whole way of which I perceive the world is from the British lens. It's not a bad thing. It's just, it is what it is. Obviously, there are some pros and cons with that, but it is what it is, right? But at the same time, I know really and truly I'm not British first. Because how can I be British first when we're sitting here celebrating what those before us did in order for us to even have the identity of British? Then is it not a contradiction for me to say I am British first? My parents or grandparents were part of the generation that built for. Doesn't mean you do not identify with being British. You can, but to say you're British first, well, then where does that leave the heritage of struggle that paved the way for you to even have that British identity?
Definitely.
And that in itself is something that kind of holds us back as a black community, because if we're not careful, what will happen within 2 generations, by the time a lot of us that are having these conversations now have grandchildren, our grandchildren will be saying stuff like, my great grandma is from Nigeria. My great grandma is the one from Jamaica. My great grandma is the one from South Africa. There is no identity with those countries back home. They won't speak the language, would be lucky if they can cook the food. They might taste it in some, maybe if we're lucky, an authentic way. If not, we might have already adapted it into certain ways that it may be taken away from its authentic self. And we'll have children that don't actually have connection to their roots, because we are already, as that next generation, disassociating ourselves from that identity. It's not the flex we think it is. Yes, you can identify as British. I will identify as British myself.
Yeah. I'm
not saying don't identify as British. I'm saying hold on to that dual identity, to that multi-identity that many of us have, because it's a blessing to be able to wake up in the morning and know that you're going to have an English breakfast for breakfast. Yeah. Then for lunchtime, you're going to have curry goat. And then for dinner, you're going to have jollof. Some people don't even know what I'm talking about. I've just said 3 different things. People in the world are looking like, what is she even talking about? You have a cultural identity that you should be able to appreciate. And you can then teach your children about not just it's not your grandma or your great grandma or whoever, but understand it's that makes you who you are. So you will be learning the language. We will be going back home as often as we can.
Yeah.
You will be going to these cultural parties and wearing the cultural clothes. It's not enough for us to just be saying, well, our ex-parents, Y parents, grandparents were from X country. That's us naturally telling ourselves that's not who we are. And it's not fair for us to do that to ourselves. we're going to end up with a cultural loss of identity.
Yeah.
And it's imperative that we maintain it. Like we have, like it should be the most, like it should be the priority. Because if you do not maintain that identity, then what are we fighting for?
Yeah.
What are we
Definitely.
trying to establish in this country? Just to be black? Black is determined by phenotype. That means you've got an afro and you've got brown skin. That's all blackness means. There's nothing else behind being black. Now we can understand what it is as a culture because of what we've developed from that term as a people. But when we're looking at what it means to be black based on what it defines, blackness just defines a phenotype. If you say black, the first thing that comes to your mind is someone that looks like they've come from sub-Saharan Africa, a person that looks like they're Nigerian, a person that looks Ghanaian, a person that looks like they're from Jamaica, a black British. It's about how you look. So if we're reducing ourselves to just how we look, then how superficial are we becoming as a people?
Yeah.
Because blackness doesn't have a uniform culture. The
love
black
that.
African in Nigeria to the black South African is two different blackness. The black Brit to the black Canadian to the black African American is different cultures.
Yeah.
The black Brazilian to the black Cuban to the black Jamaican to the black Guyanese is different cultures. So if we're reducing ourselves to blackness, what are we then? Like, I'm not saying we don't have a culture. I'm not saying that blackness hasn't had an identity formed. But if we say all we are is black, then by definition, all we are saying is all we are is the color of our skin and the texture of our hair. Based on the definition, because we didn't call ourselves black, it was given to us. We have to understand what this potentially means for us.
Yeah. Definitely. So break down some solutions for me. I want to know some solutions. I'm a solution man. I love solutions. Break down some solutions, what we need to do as a black community.
I mean, I would say the first thing that we need to do is, if you have the ability to, we need to start, first of all, having access to wealth outside of our where we were born. So particularly for those of us in the West, right? So let's say we're born in England.
Yeah.
If you have the potential to get dual nationality, Nigeria, Ghana, Jamaica, Kenya, South Africa, St. Lucia, whatever it might be, get that. Because now that gives you the ability to actually build something, because you're not depending on the difficulties of the UK to hold you up. You can now say, let me go and explore how I can bring the wealth from back home and help us to merge and bridge that gap. I would say, secondly, we have to be able to actually stand for ourselves and not be in a position of just waiting for things to happen.
Come on.
So if you've got that idea and you see nobody else can see it, others don't really understand it, nobody really wants to jump on it with me, do it on your ones. Just do it, because that idea that you have, someone else has it, and either you're going to do it or somebody else is going to do it. And chances are the reason why you have that idea is because there's people out there. How many times have we said, oh, you know what someone should make? And then give it some time and you'll be like, oh, I remember we were talking about that thing however many years ago. Just go and do that thing, because that's what people need. Yeah, we just don't worry about the fair. How am I going to do it? Just say I'm going to do it and the steps will come out, right? So we need to start taking initiative. We also need to a degree, deconstruct ourselves from the world of social media, because social media is becoming very uniform. It's, oh, this is what popularity is. This is what will get you viral. This is what will get you likes. This is what will get you views. That's all great, because let's be honest, you need the likes and the views for people to jump on your wave, right? But the problem is that you end up doing things just for views, just for the attention of it to a degree.
Yeah.
And the reality is, if you're doing that, you will stop very quickly, because it's slow for people to pick up on stuff that are new. So you have to be able to say, I'm just going out there to do my thing. This is my idea. And it doesn't matter if the online world is open to my direction or understand my perspective. I'm going to go with it anyway. Allow yourself to be innovative and to be creative. Allow yourself to be different in what you're presenting, because that's essentially what the world is looking for. Everybody's looking the same. 20, 30 years ago, people were wearing all these loud, groovy pants and hench crepes. Today, all of us are just wearing the same thing, same tracksuit, same brands. So we have to actually be prepared to be diverse in our own individuality, right? So that's individual diversity. We have to be prepared to take the leap. We have to go outside of just like being British or whatever it might be only, and being prepared to step outside.
Yeah.
And I'll say the last thing is also being prepared to be heard the word no. Some of us get scared by that rejection and we let it hold us back. That is what if nobody helps me? What if people don't see the way I'm going? What if I don't manage to get this thing that I need? And that alone, we're like, you know what, because people are already going to shut me down and say no, I'm just not going to try anyway. When actually you need to try in spite of the no.
Yeah.
You're going to get a whole of a lot more no's than you are going to get yeses. So you need to be prepared to just override that. If somebody tells me no, cool, I'll just find another way. Now I know that's not going to work for me. You know, these things are actually, because if you're limited by just only having one singular passport, then when things are going wrong, you don't have a backup, you don't have another alternative way to invest in yourself, right?
Yeah.
And if you are choosing to then at the same time be limited by what the world is telling you is capable, limited by what is social media and the general world around us is popularizing, right? Then you're going to put yourself in a box that you're not supposed to fit. So the solution to all of that is being individual, is finding other paths and forging other ways by actually finding what is available to me. And regardless of if it's accepted by other people, I'm still going to do it.
Yeah. No, come on. You're right. Come on. Love that. Absolutely love that. Is there anything else you want to say? Because I'm going to give other people a chance as well on the phone line. Is there anything that you want to say just to wrap it up?
No, I think that's it. Oh, no, I think somebody did mention to say in the comments to remember that our blackness has history behind it or something to that effect. And I do agree. I'm not disagreeing with that. Hold on, let me see if it comes up. I don't remember the exact wording, but I do agree with them, right? The only thing that I would say is we have to remember who gave us the title and who navigates what that title means. I'm not saying we haven't built something on it, because we have. We know that within our community, wherever we go in the world, we know that. We need to remember blackness holds a wealth of history and experiences that form our heritage. Right, yes. So yes, we do need to know that and remember that. But if the people that gave us blackness only gave it to us because of our phenotype, they're not looking at what the history, the heritage, any of that means. And when we strip ourselves down to just the phenotype, not what we have created it to mean, but what the Google definition will tell you, what it's perceived to be, then where does that leave us? Because we could scream till the cows come home about this is what it is to be black. But the reality is, when we hear black, they only see us as what we are, which is why I can go to anywhere in the world and the world is just going to think you fit in. If I go to Nigeria now, they're just going to assume I'm Nigerian until I talk.
Yeah.
If I go to Kenya, they're going to assume I'm just Kenyan until I talk. Because of what blackness is. It's not about spirituality. It's not about culture. It's not about heritage. It's not about strife and struggles and resilience. It's not about that. We've made it about that because that's what we do. We bounce back. We forge greatness from anything.
Yeah.
But when we're looking at it on a blanket, like piece of paper to say, what is this? And if you go on Google to understand what this is, all it is just your phenotype. It's just how you look.
Yeah.
So if you're reducing yourself to that, then where does that leave us as a community?
True.
And it goes back to your point of when you were saying, like, you got a lot of people saying, I'm not from Africa and all this, that, and the other. Okay, then what are you? You're just a slave then. Because if you're not from Africa, then your history started as a slave. And that's me as a descendant of Jamaican descent. That's me as a descendant of Sierra Leonean descent, of people that have come from a lineage of slavery. But that's not all I am, because that cannot be all I am. My history did not start just at the point of slavery. So how can I reduce myself to what slavery's tried to make me? Yes, I will still identify as black because I know what that means, both internally and externally. But that's not all I'm going to be. The same way all I am is not just British.
Just a quick question. Do you think us as black people, we love on ourselves? Do you think we have that self-love within ourselves as black people?
I think we do, but it's buried underneath pain and trauma. It's there. It's just there's so much other unprocessed emotions that even when we do try to express the love for ourselves and for our people, it comes out sometimes in very painful ways, in very distorted ways. We don't know how to express that because we're angry and we're afraid to a degree, and we are uncertain, and we are so disconnected from ourselves that we often don't know how to express our love in truth.
Okay. So anger. So how anger is not good, and we know anger is not good.
Yeah.
You know, some people, they speak out of anger and say stuff that they shouldn't say because they're very angry at the time.
Mm-hmm.
How do we as Black people get back to that self-loving ourselves as individual people? And we could put on parties as Black people. We love to party. Come on, we love to hold carnivals and all these big events.
Right.
But I think the first thing I always think about is stripping yourself back. You know, like when you buy a door and that door's been up there for years, and you wanna, and the paint starts stripping, you know, a little bit by a little bit it starts stripping, and now you wanna make that door look brand new. What's the thing you have to do when you're doing that door? You have to strip that door all the way back to its original self, like the original wood underneath. And now start building on top of that. And I think as Black people, that self-love has to be that, you know. And I think that's the point that I took. And I'm not saying everybody should go down that road or will go down that road, because everybody's got a different path. But I had to strip myself really back to the bones. Took everything that the system told me, took everything that the church told me, took everything that my mother told me, my father told me, my friends told me about who I was. And had to really go deep and find out who I was as an individual person, and why am I here on this earth? Where did I come from as a Black man? And all these things I had to find out to get that self-love, and got to a point in my life of knowing, because sometimes people are looking for other people to love them. You know what I mean? And to me, I had to love me first. And I think there's so much, sometimes Black people, you go out and you see them with some angry faces, or the way they talk to you, they're so angry. Everything about them is angry, as sometimes you see as Black people. And I think that self-love or understanding of who you are, and really getting to love on yourself, that even when you feel other people don't love you, it doesn't bother you because you love yourself so much. You're so in love with yourself that power overtakes everything, you know. In the job I do, one time I met a Black guy, and he was like so angry, and I said to him, you know what? Be happy, man. We got life. You know, I had to try and make him happy by saying, you know, we got life. We're joyful people. come on, you know what I mean? I just try and uplift him. But sometimes I see so much angry Black people, and yes, we've gone through traumas and we've gone through pains and things happen in our life, but do we just keep on blaming things that we've been through in our life? Because life is so beautiful that you can start life again anytime. As a human being, that's what we have. We have that opportunity of tomorrow to say, I want to make a change to my life. I want to be a new person. I want to love on myself. I want to go to the gym. I want to eat healthy. We've got that opportunity. As long as you're breathing, you have that opportunity of working on yourself, looking at yourself and thinking, what do I need to improve? What have I been told that is a trauma in my mind that's making me behave in certain ways? You know?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of, in order to heal it, we have to feel it. And a lot of people don't want to feel it. They don't want to feel that anger, because once they feel it, then they don't know what to do with it. But then once you feel it, that's when you learn to let go of it. You actually say, I'm not holding on to this. I'm just not going to hold on. These people may have done whatever they've done, but what is it to me to hold on to it? What difference does it make to them, or to that individual, or to that friend, to that sibling, to that whoever? It doesn't do anything to them. It's doing all the bad is coming onto me. And when you let go of it and you release it, it's through that we're then able to actually put ourselves in the places we want to be, because we're no longer allowing our emotions to hold us back and to burden us. When you heal it, when you feel it, you heal it. And in order to grow through something, you have to go through something. So you can't get through the field by going around the field, if where you need to go is through the field.
Yeah.
So you go through it. As you're doing it, you're cutting down all the grass. You're getting rid of the weeds. You're maybe turning the soil at the same time. And then you get to the other side and you're like, oh, rah, the field's clear now. That
Definitely.
field is you. It's your internal self. It's your body. It's your energy. It's your spirit.
Yeah.
But you have to feel it to heal it. You have to go through it to grow through it. Because what happens afterwards when you've done all that plowing, you've done all that de-weeding, new grass grows up.
Yeah.
Fresh, healthy grass comes up.
Come
But
on.
you can't keep a weed there and expect the grass to grow healthy. It's just going to consume the thing.
Love that. Absolutely love that saying there. You know, well, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to give someone an opportunity to call in. You know, your call has been absolutely wonderful in what you're talking about. Very knowledgeable as well in what you're saying. Definitely love that. You know, and yeah, just want to just say thank you again for calling the Just Talk Black show. You know, definitely.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Same to you. All right, and thank you.
Bye.
So that's it, guys. I'm gonna give someone a you know, as we come closer to the end of the show, the phone number is for you guys to call is 07471539533. That is in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. And we're talking about today what is holding the black community back. You know, why are we struggling as a black community? This is your time to actually phone in and say your say, have your say on the Just Talk Black show. Why are we struggling as a black community? What do you think it is? You know, that's my question to you today. What do you think, you know, why we are struggling as a black community? But also, you know, I'm a person that I love solutions. What is some of the solution, or what are some of the things that we need to do as a black community to move forward? What do we need to let go of? And how can we move forward, guys? So that's my question to you guys today. Hold on 1 minute. Hello, welcome to the Just Talk Black show. How are you doing today?
How are you? You okay? Angel Foundation.
Angel, how are you doing? Doing all right?
I'm doing all right, you know. I'm doing okay.
Good. I want to ask you the question. What is holding us back as a black community?
I think the black, with my experience working with most of the black business because of my expo.
Yeah.
And what I see is that they don't support one another. And as soon as something happens, they instead of trying to figure it out or talk about it, they start to scandalize it. They start to scandalize each other. They pass the marks on each other.
That's
They
terrible.
don't work together. And I think also too, when they see someone is working and being successful, for some reason, when they should be trying to be successful like that, it's just, I don't know what word I can use.
Is it
but
that bad mind or jealousy comes
they
in?
have a bad mind and their jealousy and also too, they create a whole thing about you which they don't know about you.
Yeah.
And if somebody posts something about somebody, you might have 3 or 4 people. I mean, it had happened with the Angel Foundation, which I've never dealt with, or I've seen them or known them. And then the remarks, they come and they start talking about money in pockets and they don't know you. They have never seen you. So I think in England, I was thinking about that the other day, you know, that I don't understand why these black businesses struggle and suffer and suffer so much. For me, I use the word suffer.
Yeah.
You know, especially when it comes to their business, to most of them. I had a lady call me last night, for example, she does skincare.
Yeah.
And then she said to me, how many skincare people do I have? And I said, but even if you have 10 skincare, it's up to you on the way how you promote yourself with your customer service. If somebody comes to your stand, you shouldn't be worrying about if there's 4 or 5 skincare.
Yeah.
Because this is a big country. It's a big country. So if 7 people is in there doing skincare, it's all different.
Yeah.
What you need to worry about. I mean, I had an experience in Christmas where I went to Walton Store for my Christmas craft fair.
Yep.
And I must say that was my worst event. On top of that, the oil wasn't working where I wanted it first. So I had to go down into a smaller oil. And a lot of them were maybe in at the back one lady rent a stand and she came with 4 massive suitcases. And I said to her, but come on, you hire a table and you come with, those old time suitcases. And I said, I'm sure if you're going to Christmas craft fair, you're supposed to take out the stuff, what you think would sell as gift as Christmas time. Set out your profit and said, well, I'm going to be marketing this, I'm going to be selling this. You know what I mean? Instead of you turn up with 4 suitcases, struggling in there because you don't know what you need to put on the stand.
Yeah.
And if you say this to them, they are upset about it. You know what I mean? They get very upset. I mean, I remember again, I came in they were all there from 9 o'clock. The tables then were set up already. It went on the group that it's going to be a tight spot because of the all upstairs and the lift not working. But I mean, they're in there 9 o'clock and this place finished at 5. But when 11 o'clock, they're still having suitcases and packing out. And I don't have a mic and I shout. I said, listen, people is coming in from the market. Only need to pack up already so they can sell. And some of them get offended by that. They're saying I'm shout, but I don't have a mic. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's like you try to support them and help them, and they turn it around into a negative way.
Yeah.
You understand me? When I'm trying to tell them, hurry up so that if people come in and they can sell, in my patois. You understand what I mean by? So it's like, for example, now I'm celebrating 15 years this year, and I've contacted a lot of Black companies to do different things, like playing the steel pot or something like that.
Yeah.
And the first thing they ask you, what's your budget? And I'm thinking, you can't ask me that. If you want to I said to her, if you have a package and you want to charge me, you send it to me, and it's up to me if I want to go with that charge or not. Am I not right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're asking you what's their budget. So their budget could be £100, but you don't know. You tell them, I'm going to pay you 500. I said, lady, it doesn't work like that. You need to have a package. If someone contacted you and said, look, I'm having a charity place. It's a non-ticket event. I don't mind supporting with the contributions. Send me your packet, and it's up to the organization if they can manage it or not. Am I not right?
Definitely. And I can agree with you on that point as well. I've had somebody who I invited to come on the show, and they're asking me, what am I paying for guests to come on the show? I'm like, really? I'm like, this is like a free. I'm doing this free. I'm trying to support my community. I'm giving back to my community. It's not. Of course. I'm not making no money from this or whatever. I'm not making no money. I'm giving.
This
back.
is what I'm saying. Yeah, you know what I mean. And it's they don't support each other. And if it's Christmas Christmas is coming and you're going out a Christmas craft fair, you're supposed to start organize what you think will sell as a gift. It's, for example, again, with the Christmas craft fair, you had a lady, she's always at my event, Bella. She does natural products, cream, and things like that. Yeah. And she's standing there with such a personality. And everybody that stopped by her, they're buying because of her customer service and her personality. She wasn't worrying about if it's too small or what. And then you had like Junior too. They were standing and they were presenting their business. You know what I mean? So even if you're in a small place, it's your customer service. It's not about what the person is doing next door, or next to you, because UK is a big country. So you don't expect somebody's going to bring you to come at an expo and you alone is going to come and sell skincare. Yeah. I said, lady, even if it's 20 skincare, it is up to you how you present your business and how you speak to someone when they come at your table, and encourage them so that they can support you and be interested in what you're going to tell them about the skincare, what is in the product, what it does. You understand what I mean?
Of course, so it's down to them, innit? It's definitely down to them how they present. I've been having a lot
of experience with them, and I'm thinking, gosh. No, this is why it is. I had an organizer call me and said to me that I spoil her business, and I said to her, "What do you mean by I spoil your business?" She said, "Oh yes, you have an event every year, and you're charging the exhibitors £45 and £50, and they used to pay me £100." I said, "Lady," "excuse me, what are you on about?" I said, "I'm a charity, so if I have a charity." And I want everybody to come in and expose your business, it's up to me. You must know why you're selling your exhibit stand for £100, but the potential, what you're offering to them and what you're going to do. Yeah, no? Yeah, but it's not, I'm not, how can I spoil your business? You know what I mean? How can I spoil your business? You know what I mean, guys? And it's a Black person again. And I'm thinking, wow, So the experience what I have with them over the last 5 years trying to, because my event is a non-ticket event and I'm a charity. Everybody can see that what I do in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And I do have my sponsors for 15 years that support me with my charity. So I just think they're not, that is why they're suffering. I use the word suffering.
Yeah.
The business is not improving because, if you go into an Indian place and you got 50 of them in there doing, maybe most of them doing jewels or skincare, and they're all selling and the community come in. And another thing, again, as I said, if you're going to Earth's Court, to the show or whatever, and you're gonna be there, you need to be promoting your business, promoting yourself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be at this place, and this is my products. This is my brand. You know what I mean? So you have some of them will turn up, like it's a market, like they're going to Wrigley Road Market. So, and it's not Wrigley Road Market you're going somewhere as a small business where you're going to present your products, what you create and what you do and how you're going to sell it and how you can expose it, and, give you information about your Instagram. Another thing, again, what I find with them now also too, I've been visiting a few of them. When you go there, they give you a card. And it's just an Instagram on it. There's no email. There's no telephone number. They're telling you QR code. And I said, suppose somebody like myself who doesn't like to go on internet or stuff. I don't have any time because look, it's not even working now, the Wi-Fi. So while you're following the bigger business and you're using QR code, but remember you're a small business. So it's important that you have your email and your business telephone number on the card, not just QR code.
Yeah.
That's another thing they're doing. Again, they're giving you a card with a QR code. Oh, just scan it and you'll find out about me. But you're not a big business. You're a small business.
So what's
Am I not right?
What's the solution? Because I hear what you're saying.
The solution is they need to be presenting their business more better. They need to have a very good contact details on their card.
Yeah.
You can have the QR code also, but you should have an email address and you should have a number. Even if you a person like a business number, then if you don't want your personal mobile, you should have a separate mobile.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean by where people, if they can contact you. You know what I mean?
But do you think it's lack of education? Because I know a lot of black. I used to go around and travel to a lot of black-owned vendors and stuff, and I used to go around to a lot of them. I used to see a lot of the display work not good. But what I find that with a lot of us black people, we don't like to read a lot. We don't like to research a lot. And we don't like to study. We don't like to study a lot. So I find that when people are starting businesses, they're just starting it anyhow. They just throw themselves in the deep end and have not done no research into their business, do not understand the business properly. Vendors, I see that they do not even know how to correctly display their work. But then again,
this is what I'm saying. Correct.
Is there support? Is there workshops that are helping startup companies that might be doing it on a free, just to show them how to set up a table or business cards?
There was a lady. It's twice I see this advertised where they're having a black businesses in the hotel again. But you have one of these celebrities doing these things, but they're charging them so much money to come in just to have meeting about, business, setting their business, presenting the business and things like that. But they're also charging a lot of money also too.
That's the problem.
And I noticed also in the last 3 years, a lot of people is setting up, but most of them comes in and they're doing sorry. They're all doing the same thing. Irish moss and sorry. It just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? They're all doing sorry and Irish moss. And I'm thinking, wow, why can't it be something else?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think education is important, definitely. I think education has to be, it has to be out there more, and it needs more people in our community to be educating and helping these startup businesses, where maybe free workshops or free stuff that, tell them the basics of how to start a business and customer service and doing a feedback form. We had somebody talking about a food shop, and you're telling the person about the food's not really good, but you don't want to say it because they're going to be offended. How much shops say when you go to a black shop, say, give us your feedback? Have you noticed also too that there was a black shop that about 2 years ago I visited in Wood Green, and I decided to go up there. Was it early this year? Yeah. Christmas, I went back to Wood Green, and the shop was gone. It was really good in there. At the back, they were doing meat,
poultry, meats, chicken. Then they had it really set up nice, and then in one corner they had the license for alcoholic, but they were closed. And I'm thinking, and I've seen quite a few of them open like this and close. I've seen a few of them like that open and close, and I'm thinking, what's going on? Why are they closed? They have a good presentation, really good, stocked out, and everything like that, but then they're closed. So I think one of the main thing also too, in my experience, because when I just came here, I had an hairdresser shop, which was very successful, but I left from there and I went to a flower shop. But later on, when the business was going down and everything, I said, you know what, I think I probably need to go to work. But then over my experience, I'm thinking, when I was having that shop, it would be better off to buy it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, if you want to go into a business on an high street or something like that, and you have everything properly set up, it would be better to lease that property. You know what I mean? Because, when you rent the property, when you rent it, and then, it's just not going to work, especially in this time. Yeah. No, so a lot of them go on the high street and then they have to close down because the rent is, the property is too expensive.
Yeah.
Now, if you notice all the chicken shops and all those shops, they buy those shops. They don't hire them. You have never seen a chicken shop up for rent because the people that is in there, they buy the property.
That's right.
What I mean? Yeah, they buy the property. So they have to own the property. If you really want to be a successful Black business, you have to own that. You have to own that side where you're on, and then it can work like that. You have to own it. Definitely. Because then it gives you time to organize your money, how to pay your mortgage and things like that. Do you understand what I mean? But you can try different things. You understand what I mean? But you can set up 3. If this is not going to work, you can say, okay, then I can break it down. But one corner do this, one corner do that, just to build up. Yeah. To build up so you're able to pay your mortgage and you're able, struggle bit by bit. I mean, I lived in Holland for many years, and Holland is different. When you're going to set up a big business, you go through the bank, and then you have to go through a course in the bank. With the bank, they offer a course if you want to go into business. Yeah. And once you go into business, whatever you're going to set up, if you say to them you're going to have 5 workers, you have it with the bank. So even the business did that make that amount of money for the month because of the contract where you have and the way to set up. The workers will still get their pay. You know what I mean? And they will continue. And then over the year, you will still get back that money because of the business going and the way it is run and way it is set up. You know what I mean? But your workers still get their paycheck. Everybody get it. So they don't just allow you to just go out in Holland and just open a shop like that because, they give you training. I mean, you got one training over here that a few Black business have been MLB, Livingston, he does training, MLB, Livingston Gilchrist, he does very well. He's been doing it for years, he does training for Black businesses, how to start up a business. He does that for many years, MLB in Tottenham. Yeah. So I know about him. And there was another guy, but I don't remember his name anymore. But I think they need to have like an organization together, like a group together where they can plan in, say, look, we're going to have this business adventure, and then invite people to come in, look it up, research for somebody, because you have a lot of people that you think could come and spend 12 hours in our venue, just to give support and to set up business and your presentation and also customer service, because you have to know how to talk. If you read my profile and if you listen to my sponsors, then when I call them up, you have to tell Angel yes. When I listen to them and I'm thinking, and some of these are big professional people. The bank, I'm talking about the bank. It's for instance, Grace Kennedy, the bank, Victoria Mutual. One is, some small businesses. And when I call them, they tell me yes. Yeah. Even I have a different, and I have my Jamaican number. But the way how I present it to them, I'm not going away till I get a yes. So sometimes when I have events and I invite them and you hear them, all of them is saying the same thing. Yeah, you have to tell Angel yes.
Definitely. So with your event, you got an event in the UK this year?
Yeah, my event is on the 27th of June in the Irish Academy Theatre Hall. I'll celebrate 15 years.
15 years,
15 years. So this year I'm only doing 50 exhibitors stand, which I have all of them already.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take on anymore. Yeah, because I find when I try to help them and take on them, there's always somebody coming with a problem. And the problem what I have, someone might say to me, Angel, I have a friend want to share and I don't know them. And the
Okay.
next minute they turn up and I don't have their name on the list and I don't know who them is. You know,
Yeah.
and I have 2 security guard. I said to them, what I do now, I give the security guard a list.
Yeah.
So if your name is not on it, you're not coming in. You understand?
I
So,
love that.
you know, I learned over the years that a list outside, because I remember a lady turn up. First one, she was very early because she was coming from far, and she was giving. And you know, I'm very tired because I work like the European.
Yeah.
I had it all from Friday, Saturday. So Friday, I'm in there from 6 o'clock till 10 o'clock in the night, setting up everything. Everything is set up. I don't wait till in the morning to go and set up tables and do all those stuff. Everything is decorated and
Yeah.
set up.
No,
So when I go in the morning, the security guard have the list.
Yeah.
You know, you learn each year. You learn
something new.
each year, right?
Yeah,
You know
definitely.
what I mean by. But I think the black businesses then should come together and, you know, see. They used to have Tony, the black used to do it, but he hasn't been doing it for a while now because he said, Angel, you know, if something doesn't go right for them, you know, if they didn't have the footfall, it's a problem. But the footfall also it has to be you also. To me, I'm an expo, so I'm near the park. People will come in,
Definitely, yeah.
right? But you're going to a pop-up place, you know, you've got to advertise yourself. You
Yeah.
gotta, you know, you can't, you know, somebody having an event and you're going there for a pop-up. You need to advertise your
Yeah.
business.
No,
that you're gonna be
definitely,
there and this is
definitely.
what you're selling.
Yeah.
But they don't. As I said, they don't.
Yeah, no,
do
definitely,
not.
definitely. What you're saying is definitely true. You know, and all the points that you put out there that you know some of the black-owned business need to look at themselves and what they're doing and get some help. and
Yes,
sort of
they
stuff.
have to and get some help.
But definitely,
Yeah.
I agree on everything you're saying. You know, and I just want to
I
thank
think you should do something like. I think you should do something like that. I was so
Me?
surprised. I went out when I was on your show, and someone said, "Oh, Angel, I listened," and I said, "Sure, you listen to it." I said, "You're very good then." So
Yeah.
I was quite shocked. Yeah. I think you should do something like that.
Yeah.
I think you should like start from now. Start early from now. You know, get a venue. You
Yeah.
understand? Get everything together, and also ask them if they want to support by even paying for the venue.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
everybody can come together. Listen, the venue is £1,000, and
Mm.
that's black businesses. And then what you can do, because you know you're brilliant. I listen to you.
Oh,
You know,
thank you.
see if we can search for somebody who can do the training,
Yeah.
who's willing to come in and train everybody on that day on customer service, presentation, because presentation is very important.
Yeah. No,
You
definitely,
know what I mean? How
definitely.
you set up your thing.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
yeah, it's,
Definitely agree what you're saying there. You know, there's a couple of things that I've got a company,
Yes.
My Black Solution, that I'm bringing out this year.
yes.
So there's an award night that I want to do February the 13th, which is a networking and awards night. I want to give awards to people who come on the Just Talk Black show and who, you know, give them awards for their services.
That would be
Because there's
really
a lot of
good,
people.
yeah.
There's a lot of people that don't get noticed, don't even get an award. But it's,
they
sometimes I've
don't.
been to
That's
some
true,
of these.
yeah, they don't.
Sometimes I've been to some of these events, and it's only people with so much followers and so much like big crowds.
No, it's like this year, 15 years. I have a few that has been coming to my event, and I've already have Sean Wallace and the mayor to give them an award. You know, just to show appreciation.
It's important, and that
You know what I mean? It's
that's definitely
important to
Yeah.
give them an award. Yeah, it is.
Definitely. But
You know
no,
what I mean?
definitely. I definitely just want to thank you. I really appreciate you coming on the Just Talk Black show, because we are coming near the end of the show, and I just want to say a big
All
thank
right,
you
then.
for always supporting.
I'm going to Jamaica because I'd send on a shipping for the schools, Anchovy and Cambridge. You know, they had a hurricane last year and they get it,
Yeah.
but I had a container with 300 boxes
Yeah.
and 25 barrels. So I'm on my way to Jamaica to pick it up, and then
wow.
I'm going to be doing some contributions and come back in a fair
Definitely.
about 7 days.
All right.
So hopefully I'll be back soon, but my
Yeah.
event is already ready for the 27th of
Send
June.
it.
But yeah,
Send that to me so I could. I definitely
I'll
like
send
to
it to you,
attend.
yes.
Definitely, and yeah, I just
And-
appreciate you definitely for 100% coming on the Just Talk. Black
yeah, and
show.
I'm looking forward to that event. I mean, I could say that the Novotel will be really good. I would be a part of it. I think with the Novotel,
Yeah.
you could check it out, and you could. I went to an event. I soon finished. I went to an event about 2 weeks ago. I got awarded for the Wise Woman Award. I got a missionary woman
Okay.
in missionary award.
Yeah.
And what I found out with the Novotel, I was looking for it for a long time because they did the Jamaica 50th year there,
Yeah.
and I couldn't find this stuff there, which is the Nova Hotel in Hammersmith. And when you have the art, but you have a big outside offset where you could set up all the black businesses who you're going to be awarded and things like that. So
Yeah.
you could really have a look at it, because even me myself said I was going to have a look at that. But yes, I
Yeah.
think this is, and then you started from Treka. 'Cause I was surprised the Wise Woman Award. You
Mm.
had over 500 people dressed very nicely.
Wow.
And they were on time from
Good.
3 o'clock.
From
So,
3 o'clock, definitely.
yeah, we don't need to start anything, it start 3 and it finish 10,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But and the event with the cost will go down for that time too, because it's not late. But yeah,
No, definitely.
I think it's good for you to do something like that. Just let me know.
Appreciate it. Definitely appreciate
All
that.
right.
All right, then. Thank you.
And thank you very much. And I see you soon.
All right, then,
okay.
thank you. Take care.
You.
All right,
All
then.
right then. Yes.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye. Bye.
Yes, guys. And that's it. I'm gonna leave it there. I think I did have a caller from 980. I just want to take that last call for today. I know we've gone a bit over the time. The show should be coming to an end now, but I know 980 ending 980. If you just quickly want to call it in, I know you did call in before, but 980. I'm just gonna leave it there for 980 to call in. If you don't, then this is really the end of the show. I just want to thank you, everybody who has been participating in the chat. Definitely has been an amazing show. And as I always say, most of my shows, there have to be a part 2 to this. So definitely I will be bringing out a part 2, which will give more people the opportunity to have their say on why we are struggling as a Black-owned community. And I just say, as I always say, subscribe. Hold on, we've got 980 calling in. Hello, welcome to the Just Talk Black show. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm brilliant. I
Good.
just want to thank all the callers, actually. I've learned quite a lot listening in. And it was just a quick sort of just my own, I guess, experience of our Black people.
Mm.
And what I've kind of been through when, going through things in life and trying to get, Black people to kind of help you when you realise that, it was unfortunate. It was more the white people trying to help more than the Black people.
Mm.
And I just had to, I think for me, had to kind of look at what's actually going on, and I know you're running out of time now, but it was just like, going through a breakup with an ex-husband and going through domestic abuse and having to go through sort of like church for support. And there was a lot of the Black people there that didn't actually want to know. Their words for me was, I pray for you.
Mm.
And the practical help that I actually got was from the white community more than anything else.
Yeah.
And it just made me reflect, actually, why are we like this with each other? Why aren't we helping? And, you had one of your shows last week, and your guest said we need to sit with ourselves. So when you talk about what's the solution, it is about healing from within.
Yep.
I found that a lot of the Black people that was just saying, I will pray for you, were the ones that have actually gone through domestic abuse, have gone through trauma, and they didn't want to deal with certain things. It was easier to say, I'll pray for you. God is with you, more than to actually offer support and help. And then actually had to face their own demons and traumas through what I was going through.
Yeah.
And because I just found some, not all, some of the ones I've dealt with, the white communities, they don't have the issues that we have as a Black whole and as a Black community. They were more willing to help. And really, some of them didn't know me, but like, oh, I can pick up your child from school. I can drop you off here. I can do this. I can do that. Even if you needed financial help, it was like, wow, there's people out there like that. And it was just like the Black community would just sort of like, when you see something happen on the road, just shut your curtains. You don't want no one to see you.
That's true.
And
Very true.
yeah, and it's just sort of like, as we talk about identity, some of us don't know who we are. They don't know whose we are. We don't know our identity. We don't know even how to heal. And in order to heal, I think one of your last callers says, we have to look at ourselves. And by looking at ourselves and what we've gone through, it's going to be painful. I can't help you if I don't help myself. I can't jump into the sea and save you if I can't swim. So when
I remember saying that, actually. There was a saying that I can't remember who I said it to. I know who I said it to, actually, where we said that somebody is drowning and they could swim, but they're shouting out for their mum to help them, and their mum can't swim, but they can swim, but they're panicking. and all they've got to do is just swim a little distance to the island. But instead of they're panicking, but they can swim, but they're just panicking. And what happens is that they call their mum to save them, and the mum jumps in and she drowns because she's trying to help her child, but her child can help herself. And what that saying is basically if the mum to really help herself first and say, well, just calm down and you can do it. But instead she jumped in, not realizing that I'm going to put myself in danger and I'm going to basically drown. But because she never really thought, putting herself first and just looking at the situation. And sometimes, and that's exactly what, I believe that you were saying with that sort of thing, that sometimes we need to put ourselves first in life before we try and help anybody else. And how much of us in the Black community does that? Put ourselves first and self-love, self-care.
Yeah, true. I think sometimes we're always watching other people, watching what the Joneses have, watching what we don't have, watching, maybe we live in the past a lot as well. There's no future in your past, things that's happened. We live a lot on survival mode instead of thriving. We're just surviving. So many times in the Black community, you talk to, especially a lot of Black men, I'm surviving, but why? Our ancestors did enough surviving for us so that we can thrive, And I just think for me, it's quite sad. I think I get quite upset a lot with our Black people. And as I think you had a young girl call in about being angry. Yeah, we always act this anger. Black people's always angry. And like the Black woman's always angry. But we've got a lot going on sometimes, And we perceive that way. But you talk to us and you realise that we've got a lot to unfold, a lot of layers about us.
Yeah.
But I do believe it is helping ourselves first, but sometimes it's really hard to sit with ourselves first because we then have to look at everything we've gone through, and in order to heal, as your last caller says, we have to do the work. We have to look within. And a lot of us don't want to do that. It's just easier to sweep things under the carpet and carry on, and then we treat people how we feel as well.
Yeah.
So I just think, we really have to do the work as individuals, and in order to move on, learn, as you said before, learn to love yourself. And sometimes what is love? If you've never been shown love in your parents, how can you give it? You've never been shown it. How can you give it? Sometimes we grow up our children, tough love, don't cry. Boys shouldn't cry. You pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and don't have any emotions. Then you grow up that same way. You grow your children up like that. It's in a perpetual cycle. And then, people want to say, why are you like this? My environment, And then people said, find your tribe, find your tribe, find your tribe. But then you realize the tribe sometimes can be the same as you because you don't know any better.
True.
Sitting, it is, I think we really need to look within first. And, it's tough. I get it. I've been there, had to do the work myself, had to, and sometimes when life is not planning out, and as the lovely lady you just had, brilliant ideas about, looking towards the community and stuff like that to get help and sponsors. Absolutely. Why not? We're not begging, we're not saying, but we need help. Each one's help one is that we can grow that way. And obviously you get help, you help someone else. That's how, how it goes. But sometimes pride. But when we are not looking to help each other because we don't even know how to help ourselves, we can't do much as a community. We say the solution sometimes. Can we be our own solution? First, we can't be helping someone else when we can just about get up ourselves, And
it's powerful what you just said in that point of, and that's how people, when we say that we've got to help ourselves first, but you made a point of talking about, well, maybe you don't know how to teach yourself that, or you've never been shown how to do that. So there has to become a point of, where do we as a community, for the people out there who are teaching these sort of stuff of self-love, self-care, healing and these things, where do it come to a point of where we collaborate as companies, as business, as black people, and come together and put these events on so people can get the healing. People can talk to maybe a counselor or have access to somebody who looks like them, who can help them along their journey. You know, so I think that's a very valid point that you said, that, you know, some of us don't know even where to start from or how to love ourselves, or, you know, where to even start in life in general. So, no, I really appreciate your call and what you've just said. Very powerful thing.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, mate, you're doing a great job. Continue doing it. And I think by not just talking, but taking action with your purpose, I think exactly what you're doing. And as the lady before, your last caller said, you know, you're just trying to build each other up, but don't worry about how much subscribers or how many people viewing you. Just continue doing what you're doing. Discipline and consistency is the key. You know, it doesn't matter. You go out there and you do what you love. Trust me, people's going to start following you. And then, as you said, what's the solution? You will be the solution. Even if it's for one person, you will be the solution. You know, DJ Purpose, you will be that kind of bridge to help someone to see who they are, to heal, you know, to be that bridge to say, you know, I can actually do something. I don't like doing my 9-to-5 job. Actually, I want to be a successful entrepreneur, you know, and then you will bring people together and start putting on workshops, as you said, and life coaches and counselors and therapists. You know, you have all these great people on your shows. And as you said, it's about giving these awards and bringing people together. But what do we do after it as well? You know, it's, as you said, the networking, and continue to keep in these groups going. Sometimes people have all these great ideas and they do it, and that's it, it's gone. You need to actually keep it going. And sometimes we're quite a hard bunch of people, black people. I love my people, but we're not easy at the best of times, but we've gone through a lot. It's our struggles as well. So I think it does take a strong-willed person, by God's grace, to keep the fire going, keep the torch going for us, and we'll get there. By the grace of God, we'll get there. Thank you.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you for your call today.
You're welcome.
I really
Have a good
appreciate
evening.
that. Same to you.
God bless.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Wow, what a call that was. Definitely a big thank you for that caller for calling in and saying what she said. So powerful, you know, of what she just said on the phone. And yeah, I just want to just say a big thank you. You know, we come to the end of the show. It's gone on a bit long today. But as I said, it's one of these topics that you go from many different angles on it, on this subject, you know, what's holding the black community back, you know. So just a big thank you again, as I said, to everybody who has supported the Just Talk Black. And I'm on this campaign of getting the Just Talk Black to 1,000 subscribers. And while I'm saying 1,000 subscribers, it's going to help push the channel even more further out there. The more subscribers we get, and I get what people say, it's not about the subscribers and all that, but what it does, it helps push us out further into the community. You know, we need to get people to know about this channel, because it's giving the black community a chance to come on and actually just have your say. It's not one of these shows that, you know, it's one of them mad shows that you see in the hype and this person cussing this person and that. We don't do that here. We talk about problems and then we want to know what is the solution. And that's what we're going to be dealing on this show. What's the problem and what's the solution? You know, so we'll be talking about that. And yes, as people in the caller said, I need to start maybe putting some workshops on that's going to help you guys. But the company is coming, My Black Solution. Do look out for that. I am working on that daily and hard to get that company up and running. And I will let you know more in due time about what that company is going to do. So I just want to say a big thank you for everybody who participated in the chat. You know, for all the callers who called in, you have been fantastic today on the Just Talk Black show. And as I said, this is your host, DJ Purpose. Let me just bring up my social media where you can find me on quickly for you. So this is where you can find me on. You can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and there's the famous phone number, and the website is coming, guys. We are in the process of working on the website, so that will be coming. So, you know, take a screenshot. If you want to get in contact with me, just hit me up on that, or you can phone me on the mobile number, which is on the screen down there. And just quickly before I do go, if you like to participate or even be a guest on the Just Talk Black show, call that number on the bottom right hand below, which is 07471 539 533. Basically, guys, all you've got to do is just call me, tell me what you want to do on the show, what topic you want to talk about. I will send you out a form. Once you receive that form, fill it in, send it back to me. We do a 5-10 minute test with you on your internet and your webcam or your device, whatever device you're going to use. It's done from the comfort of your home. And basically, once we do that and the test is okay, we will book you in the available date that we have for you to come on the show. So if you know any friends or family member that would be good on the Just Talk Black show, give them that number at the bottom right hand screen and let them give me a call. We can get on. But again, thank you guys for supporting, and thank you for watching the Just Talk Black show, and have a good night as well.
Let's talk truth. DJ Purpose. Just Talk Black show. Yeah, we quick to blame, but we don't reflect. Pointing fingers, avoiding the check. Broken homes, pain we protect. Still carrying wounds we never address. Crabs in the barrel pulling us down. Jealousy loud when someone gets crowned. We got the knowledge, we got the power, but we don't build, we just fight each other. This ain't a test, it's self-awareness. If we don't heal, we stay in this. What's holding us back? Let's speak the truth. It's not just them, it's what we do. We gotta change how we think and move. If we don't grow, we lose. What's holding us back is deeper than pain. Mindset, pride, and hidden shame. If we unite, we break these chains. Together we rise again. Together we rise again. We don't support till it's too late. We don't talk, we just separate. Kings don't heal, queens feel unheard, and we pass that pain down through every word. The cycle, we gotta break it. What's holding us back? Now we see clear. It starts with us right here. Build each other, that's the way. That's how we change today. Just Talk Black show.